Okay, hi guys. This is Jace Alvarez on Instagram, and we are actually very excited because it's the very first tutorial that we are doing for the I Love You shop. The channel for YouTube is I Love You Shop, and also on Instagram it's called I Love You Shop. So we are here to bring you the very first tutorial, which is actually quite interesting. We call it the corset. How can I forget my own title? Okay, that was confusing. All right, so anyway, we will try our best to be as clear as possible in teaching you this, and hopefully you will enjoy making it. For today, we are going to be using the pastel glow-in-the-dark pack from I Love You Shop, and you can get it online if you find them on Instagram. Again, you can order from them. So we will try to teach you this. This design is actually inspired by my passion for period stuff, period music, period movies, and so that's why I like to call it that way, because if you'll notice in the center, that is like a corset wherein the bands crisscross with each other, and that is the corset part of a lady's dress. In case if you don't remember, you might have seen it when they did it in Titanic, Kate Winslet's dress. Okay, so anyway, step 1. You need to create a loom with a configuration that looks like this. You need 4 bar pin setup, and then 2 of your bar pins will be lower than the other 2 bar pins outside. And then you will probably be needing about 2 bar pins long. So that'll probably be around 3 looms, 3 loom sets actually if you put them together. So for the normal wrist size, which is probably like similar to mine, you might be needing about 24 caps, which if you count, it's 1, 2, 3, and you go all the way to 24. That wraps around your wrist nicely, without any extensions. We don't like using extensions, so we will be doing a full bar setup. If you can take a look at this right there. Okay, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we'll start. So what we need to do now is to lay in our perimeter, and for this we will be using the white ones. So I will show you the first step on how to do that. Here are our our white glow-in-the-dark bands, and you will be starting from the bottom. Okay, so you'll be placing it 1 band there. Okay, and all you have to do is to just go all the way up your loom all the way to the end. So I'll be showing you a few of the steps on how to do this, but if most of you are already advanced loomers, then you must have a very good idea on how to do this. This is the easiest part of placing bands, your perimeter. But you will have to push them down because you will be having a lot of bands on top of these outer parts of your loom, because we will be looping a lot of the bands this way. Okay, so band it all the way. Okay, so let me see, you can fast track a little bit. Sorry if my hands are getting in the way. There's no way to do this without blocking it. So if ever you have any comments about this tutorial, please let us know. If the voice is too soft, then I can speak louder. If you want me to speak louder, I will shout. If you want me to scream, I will scream. Okay, just let me know. Okay, so maybe we can pause right here, and then we will fast forward to the part where we have completed it already, and then we'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so we're back, and we already laid our perimeter. So this is how your loom should look like. You have your bands from the bottom all the way up, going up here, and then all you have to do is to just towards the end, you just have to loop from this bar to the 2 bars on top in the center. Just 1 band each. So that shouldn't be so difficult if you cannot see there. Okay, so we are now going to lay in our middle bands. Middle bands, for this design, we use 2 colors. We have the green and the blue, so we can actually play around with those. You can choose whatever color you want, but since we will be copying this exact bracelet, we will be following the same pattern. So we will start with green. Okay, so all you have to do is to just lay X bands, to cross your bands from the bottom right up diagonally like that, and then follow it with another one that goes diagonally up like that. Not so hard, right? Then you follow it with your next color. Same, you just start on the same spot all the time. The bottom right going up to the left, and then the left one going up to the right. And then you go back to your same color again. Okay, I'm getting confused, but we're recovering from that. So again, you do your cross, and then you do the next one, right to left, left to right. Just make sure you stick to the pattern so that when you loop, the crosses are all the same. They're not facing in different directions, which makes a difference if you want your bracelet to be very tidy. But if you're not very particular about that, then that might not be a problem. But if you want your bracelet to look really nice and clean and balanced, then you'd want to loop it. Sorry, you'd like to put your bands the same way for all the sides, so they look very nice and neat. Okay, so hopefully that's clear enough. And we will just go all the way up that way, all the way up to here. Okay, so again, we'll be going back in a few seconds. I'll see you once I put all my bands there. Okay guys, so this is how it's supposed to look right now. We've placed all our crossed bands, middle bands for the second and third bar pins. You will see all the way up it goes, blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, all the way up, and then you just put the same pattern at the last 4 bars. So there, so your loom should be looking like this. Okay, now we're going to be putting our side bands, which are going to be these 2 colors that you have on the side. When you lay in the bands for this one, and this is just a suggestion for me, you might want to pick which color you want to stand out more. So that'll be the first band that you will be placing here at the bottom, because what happens is that when you loop, it'll be the ones on top. So in case you noticed, there's orange underneath, and I wanted the neon orange to be subdued by the violet, or the purple rather, sorry. So you want to make sure that if you pick your colors, and it's just a style suggestion, that if you want certain colors to stand out, then you might reconsider how and which bands go on top of what color so that it looks nicer. Okay, so let's go get on with it. So for this we have pink, oh sorry, it's purple. We have pink right beside me. Let me just get the purple ones. Very nice. Okay, this is good. So we'll put our purple bands first. We will start on the second bar pin of the second row, and then put your band all the way down to the first pin of the first row, just like that. Okay, and then what I did is I switched colors so that this is the color that goes underneath when I loop, the orange one. So that's a suggestion that I'd like to give everyone in case you'd like to highlight something. Then you repeat the same pattern on the other side, and then again put your second band there. That's how it's supposed to look. Okay, you repeat that all the way up again to the end of your loom. Okay, so there. So since this is my design, you will all be obedient and follow it. Okay, so we will be doing it for the next 10 bar pins before we take a break and finish it off, so that you don't get so bored. So I'm trying to say a lot of things, but I'm running out of topics to talk about. But anyway, this is actually fun. For the first try, we actually reviewed it and it actually looked good. So we're very excited to upload it. So many of you are very supportive of ILOVEHUESHOP and my account, Jace Alvarez, that it's overwhelming. We actually had to rush doing this tutorial because we know some of you actually are quite happy with the designs that you've seen. And please remember, you can order your bands from ILOVEHUESHOP on Instagram. They actually ship anywhere, just as long as it's something that's reachable by plane. I think we can ship there. So there. So if you notice, that's how you do your bands. Oh, by the way, before I forget, you have to actually really use bands that are flexible for these perimeter bands, because they go all the way to the bottom, and by the time that you loop them at the end of the whole design, they will experience some tension. So you might want to get bands that are quite flexible. Like jelly bands are actually quite nice, but these glow-in-the-dark bands, pastel bands, are actually very flexible. That's why I like working with them. Not to mention they kind of look really nice to eat, but I don't recommend that. Okay, so we'll take a break and we'll finish off this entire thing so that you will see how it looks when it's completed. So I'll see you in 2 seconds. And we're back. So as we mentioned, you are supposed to put the zigzag side bands, which are here, the orange and purple. So your loom should look like this. And at the end, all you have to do is to just add the 2 last bands here, going outwards to the topmost portions of those perimeter. So it's nothing really special. So okay, and then now that's actually quite nice. It's exciting because this is a really nice design, which I hope all of you will make, and make sure that you tag us. Okay, it's called the CORSET bracelet again. So here, if you will see, we have a nice pink highlight band underneath. That's what we're going to be placing right now, and those 2 bands will go right here in the center, and they just go all the way up to the end of the loom. So we will show you how that's done. Here are your pink bands, and you will be starting from the bottom. Okay, you can see clearly, I hope. And you just put one right there, and another one on the next one, and just keep doing that all the way up. Just remember to be pushing down those bands just to be sure, so that later on you won't have to go pushing them down again in between or while you are looping, because that's very inconvenient. And it also helps not make you mess up so much, particularly when it comes to having the bands overlap, because once you loop the bands from underneath, then it's hard when they overlap. So, and that creates more tension, which may risk into a band breaking. So you want to make sure that you push them down properly. And by the way, I have a suggestion that when you put bands, you always have to support it here and push it that way, and then you will see that there's distributed tension all over, so it doesn't get too narrow on a certain side. Because sometimes what happens is that when you place a band and it's not balanced, then by the time that you loop, a certain side of it is thinner than the other, then you risk breaking some of your bands. So that's quite important, especially when you need to loop thick layers of bands, which my next design later on will be exciting. We're actually going to do another tutorial right after this for Legend, which we will be showing you later. That will be a little bit more difficult, but I think you're all gonna like it. Okay, so we're halfway and we'll be back in about 2 seconds, and let me just finish off laying in all of these bands and we'll see you again. Okay, so we've laid our center bands, the pink ones, and your loom should look like this. Those 2 bands should be going all the way up to the end here. Okay, as I've mentioned, in case you're wondering, yeah, this is a band that is this is a bracelet rather, that is designed as a full wrap, so that at least you don't have to put extensions, because we don't like putting extensions. Okay, so that pink goes under there. That's the beautiful accent of pink right there. So very nice if you actually try to take a look at it. And you might actually want, if ever that you have other ideas for colors here, that's where you can put some of your glitter bands or nice metallic bands or pearl bands, because they stand out, especially when you try to open them up like that, and then everything else is subdued. Then your accent is right in the middle, which makes this one come out even more. So that would be nice. Okay, so now we're going to put the lock of the middle part, because since we only have 1 layer of bands in the middle right here, you'd like to make that, to reinforce it by putting a lock here in the middle, so that it doesn't open up too much. So if you notice, this design actually has 3 layers rather of bands right there, which makes it stronger and resilient, so it doesn't, you know, get ruined quickly. So it's very strong. It's actually very soft, but at the same time it's very strong. So very nice design. I'm very happy about it. So how to do that? We usually use just clear bands, or bands that have a little bit of design, and as I said, sort of like an accent. So here we'll be using nice jelly blue, like sky blue bands, which are actually quite nice and flexible, so that even if we have to keep looping, it'll still nice and flexible. So all you have to do is just to simply put them on top of all, oh sorry, start on the second one rather. Put them on top of all of these. Just as simple as that. So just laying one band right there. Okay, so the importance of these locks, oh, let me just show you what's happening here. It's twisting, and I have a habit of straightening all the bands all the time. So whenever that you are doing something or looping or just laying in bands, it's nice to already have them like really flat and straight with no twisting, because it makes it so much cleaner when you do your design. Okay, so anyway, going back, as I was saying, the locks are actually very important, because that's how you get your bracelet to be strong in between the designs, like in between, like what I call it, I like to call it the spine. So if you notice, it's also very straight, so it's very clean. It doesn't get twisted that way, you know. So it's better when there's a lock, because it's very clean and straight, so it keeps it aligned. That's also another way to get your bracelets look very, very clean. Okay, so you might not see it very clearly, but this is a clear jelly sky blue band which you can put, sorry, you can use as a lock for all of those. So we'll be back in 2 seconds, and I'll just put all of these locks, and we are done, and we will be looping the bands. So I'll be back. Okay, so here we are again. As I said, we laid all the lock bands in the middle, and we'll see if you can see it clearly. I hope it's clear, but since they're barely visible, but they're just a band that goes in between, which I want to call the spine to support it. So just so you know, I stopped right here, because for this particular set we will use 2 bands, and then we will cap the band. Okay, that's how you do it. You cap it. For those who don't know how to cap a band, you can actually use your hook and then just twist it there, put it like that. Okay, and then if you like putting it that way, that's okay also, but I like straightening it out a bit to make it clean, and then you apply it at the last 2. And the reason why I do that is because I noticed over the months that whenever I make a bracelet, these are the parts that go into the C-clip and it serves as the lock, and every time that you remove and put on your bracelet, they're the ones that get tugged most of the time. So now all my lock and my links are double banded, so that they don't get ruined easily. So that is the reason why we have a cap band right there. So that's it. Okay, and now we are done. We can start looping. Yee-hee. Okay, so turn the band around. Okay, so we're going to start looping, and the first part that we need to do is to loop the center bands, the pink bands that you have right here. So for those who are not familiar with looping, it's when you start putting the bands on top of, you know, wherever you want to take the bands. So what you do for the first step of the looping is you go inside that cap band, and then you take the top band, which is the pink one, and then you start looping it up onto itself. Okay, just a suggestion, and I know it will take a little bit of time for you guys, but when you loop, you want to take it slow, and you want to pull outwards first. Okay, I don't recommend pulling upwards, because that puts tension on your band, which is not necessary, and it makes it harder. And it's nice if you support it when you pull it, so that way your bands still look even and clean, and then there. So you see, so every time that a band is twisting or not balanced, it's better to always run your hook around it, so to make it look cleaner. So anyway, those are just my suggestions in case you're very particular about how clean your bracelet should look like. So just continue with that, and you look upwards again, see, and then you do it on the other side, so for both. So basically that's what you need to do all the way up. So since I take a long time looping because I like to clean the bands every time they are looped. I like to straighten them and make sure that they're not twisted. I will pause this, but I will show it to you for about 5 more bars so that you can get the idea. So there, see, you're just really taking them back up to themselves for that particular segment, and you go under the lock. Make sure that you do not loop from outside the lock. You go inside the lock, and then you take the pink band and put it up, bring it up to itself. There you go. Oops. Again. Sorry. Bit tough. Okay, there you go. So sometimes some of them have tighter parts, so you just have to be careful when tugging on your bands. So make sure that you tug them nicely so that they're balanced. Another reason also why I take time in looping is because you want to make sure that the band underneath and the band on top has equal tension so that they don't break in the midst of you making the bracelet. So if you notice, this is a bit twisted. This is actually bothering me, so that's just me. So we can continue so that we don't take too much time. So anyway, we'll be back in about 2 seconds again, and then we just finish this off, and then we'll show you how it looks like when it's done. Okay, see you. And we're back. So there you go. We were doing the looping of the center bands, and this is how your loom is supposed to look like. Sun shining in. That's nice. Finally, after so many weeks of rain, we are actually seeing the sun. So there you go. So we have already looped our center bands, and now we will be looping out the side bands. These are the orange and the purple bands that you have here. So if you notice, it's right here, the one that I showed you earlier. This one has the purple on top of the orange, and now the one that we are doing will have the orange on top of the purple, because we switched the color so that you can just see the difference of how the effect of the placement of the bands actually affect the design of the bracelet. So now this is how you do it. You again go into the second pin, and then you will see all you do is you just push down that lock, and then you pick on the very first band and you flip it out onto itself. There, just like that. I have one thing that I do when I loop to the sides. I actually really do try to straighten it, because if you notice, if you will notice, all of these are actually very flat. They're not twisted. So that's the importance of trying to make sure that when you loop your bands, you try to straighten it whenever they're twisted, so that it looks very clean. And then the tension is also well distributed on both sides. That's kind of important if you want your bracelet to look clean. I know I keep repeating myself. You know, I should just record myself so that it will keep repeating itself. Okay, so again, there you go. You just keep looping it out like that. So there you can see the orange is already on top of the purple, and that's a different accent. So you will see it later on. So there, that's actually very easy. This bracelet is not actually a difficult design to make. It's just probably me playing around with the bands and always loving how to make bracelets. When we were going to do the tutorial, I was actually thinking, what's a cool name? My name's Jace. There's nothing creative about that, right? Well, at least my bracelets are. Maybe I should change my name to Lex or something. So I'm like Lex Tutor. That is so cool. Okay. Someone's laughing his head off beside me. Okay. I think you have to go outside and laugh it off, otherwise it might go out the wrong place. Okay, so maybe we'll see. Maybe one day I'll have that channel, Lex Tutor, the loom teacher. You know, it's Looms Day. So, okay. I wonder how producers of Superman will think about that. Anyway, so we'll continue looping these all the way out onto themselves, and we will be seeing you in 2 seconds. Okay, so there, as we were saying, we had to continue looping out the side bands. So I'm trying to put it closer to the camera so you can see. So here you go. We loop them out to the outer pegs. So you will see all the way up there. Okay? So very clean. Okay. You know, we actually forgot to show you. This is actually the original corset that I made about 2 weeks ago. If you will notice, this one I highlighted the green. As I was mentioning here, I highlighted the pink. So you can actually do very nice ways of highlighting, not just the front part of your bracelet, but actually the inner parts, which bring out the colors of the other bands that you're using. So this is actually the original one, and it's quite nice if you look at it. Very clean. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do now. So corset, that's the title. So don't forget to hashtag it to Jace Alvarez on Instagram and ILOVEHUESHOP on Instagram. Okay, so now we are actually going to loop the middle bands, those bands that are under there, the blue and the greens. Okay, and just like the other looping the looping steps that we did, it's actually just looping them onto back onto themselves. And so what you want to do is you want to just go into that cap band, okay, and then take the one that's on top. On these two, you will see this one is the one on top. And if you laid your bands the same way I did, wherein everything started from the right going down, then you'll have all your first step just going from the left to the right upwards. Okay, so let me show you so you know what I'm talking about and you don't get confused. So there, that's the first one. Then you loop it up there, across, and then you get the second one. Oops, you have to be careful and make sure that you help your band so it doesn't get tugged the wrong way. Sorry if my hand got in the way. Okay, so there, you loop it back onto itself, just like that. Okay, so now you go to the next one. You always start on the left, going up to the right. You loop it back onto itself. Okay, there. Then here, same way. Just loop it back that way. So since in this step we actually have some of the bands getting more tension because there's more looping going on around, you might want to just pull out a bit more just so that you get that band more balanced. And so when you pull it up here, the band on top and the band at the bottom get the same tension, just so that it looks clean. Okay, so you pull it out and then put it over there. Yeah, that way it looks very balanced and clean. And this is the corset part of the bracelet. That's why I called it corset. So it's actually very cute, very clean. Especially for women, I think. This is more feminine design, but I'm sure the girls are gonna like it, and you can play around with the design more. You can probably also make a male version by using more masculine colors, and that'll make it look nice. So, oops, got in the way. Okay, so as I said, just keep looping upwards. Okay, try to get rid of all the twisting there. If you want your bands to be, you want your layout to be cleaner. If you want that to be untwisted, you can just put your hook in the middle and try to get it in there, sort of loosen it up, and then you can start pulling. Then straightens out a bit. Sorry about that. Okay, there you go. See? Okay, so now you go again here. So that's basically it. It's very easy. All you have to do is just keep looping the bands up, back to themselves, all the way up to the end. Okay, so I will see you in 2 seconds again, and I will just finish this looping. I'll see you. Okay, so there, we've looped our center bands, and as you can see, let me put it closer. There, they're all crossed all the way to the top. Okay, so hopefully you get that, because we're almost done. We actually looped all our bands with the design already, and we're now just about to close the bracelet, and we are now going to loop the perimeter, which locks everything. Oh no, wait, I'm not yet done. I actually, oh yeah, no, I'm actually done. Sorry, yeah. I was just checking if I was able to loop everything. Yeah, I did. Sorry, got a bit confused. So now we will be looping the perimeter bands, which locks the entire bracelet. So let me just double check something, make sure. Yeah, Okay, so now what we're going to do is we again go into the cap band here at the bottom, and we will be grabbing this first band on the left side, the left bar pin at the most bottom, and then of course we bring it back onto itself, just like any perimeter band that we do. We always just bring them back up to lock everything all together. Okay, if ever there are some beginner loomers there, you will have to be advised that that's the reason why we put all of those perimeter bands, is because you loop everything out. And if you do not put perimeter bands, or if you do not have any perimeter bands or forget to loop them, then if you pull your bracelet off the loom, then it falls apart because nothing is locked. So this whole perimeter thing actually serves as a lock for the entire bracelet. So what we're going to be doing now is we'll complete this whole thing, which gives you a very good bracelet, and everything else will be tied together, and later on when we pull it off, it's going to be really nice. And if you have anything in mind, creative ideas that you can put together, that's actually good. I have this Instagram follower and friend, her name is Chodaro. She actually likes putting beads in between the bands, which is actually beautiful when she does it. So all of her designs actually have a different twist to it. So what you can do is you can actually start putting beads like in between all of those bands, and then when you loop them up, you'll be having a bead right here in the center. So that's actually a cool idea. Or you can also use jewels or other ideas that you have. So we're open to that. So we'll see you in 2 seconds, and we'll just be looping all these, and I'll be showing you how to lock the top part of the bracelet. Bye. Okay, yay, finally we got it done. We locked all our perimeter bands, and if you see, it goes all the way up there. So the last 2 bands, we just looped them up all the way to the 2 bands in the center, and so now I will show you how to lock it. So we turn the whole thing around, okay, again, okay, and then if you remember, we placed I don't know if you can see it clearly, but I'll try to show you. Underneath, we placed 2 bands. Okay, there's a reason for that, and as I said, we put 2 bands because we want to make sure that when we lock it, it's secure. So what you want to do now is you want to go inside your pegs, top pegs, and then you want to try and grab those 2. So I'll try to show them to you here, which is probably a bit difficult because we'll see how we can show this here. Okay, so there, if you see, I'm going there inside those that thing, and then you'll see here, I'll show you my hook, and these two rubber bands at the bottom, you try to grab those. Okay, grab those and then bring them up here, because that's what's going to be holding the entire bracelet together. So you pull them out very, very slowly without breaking them. So you see, they're up there. Okay, so what you do now is, actually we might need an extra hook, so let me just grab another hook. What you want to do is just lock this here so that it doesn't fly away. Okay, so just lock that there. Thank you. And then, so here's the extra hook. So what you want to do now is go into the other one and also grab those 2 bottom bands. Okay, so let me try to do that now. It's hard to do it when I'm trying to make sure you see it in the camera, but I think I got it. So there, you see, I got the other 2. Now that you have the other 2, you have to be carefully bring them out again, and so they're both outside, so you have them both safely locked. What you want to do is put them together in one bar so you can lock them there. Okay, so you want to take your C-clip, oops, sorry for the hand, sorry for the arm, it's all over the place. Okay, sorry for that. And then now you want to go and lock those 4 bands there. Okay, and you have your C-clip right there, so you're safe now. You can actually start taking it off the loom. Okay, now some people would actually try and just rip it off just straight out. I never do that. It just scares me. Okay, so maybe it's just me, but what I try to do is I actually try to take it out one by one. Okay, very, very slowly and meticulously. And this one is actually so much safer because it preserves the bands, and it helps prevent you having some bands looser than the other, because sometimes it's not nice to look at when you start stretching out the bracelet and they're already bunched up, and suddenly some of the bands are longer than the other, and it's just really irritating. So you do this one by one. So maybe this is the portion where we will not take a break. We will actually just show you how it's done so that you can try to do it my way. And I feel that this has somehow given me cleaner bracelets. You know, they look nice, the bands are not so loose, and they look very clean. So you just want to take your hook, okay, and in case you don't know what I'm doing, I'm covering it up. Okay, so here I'm actually putting my hook under each peg and lifting them one by one, which is actually much better because it's, oops, see, I have to make sure that none of those get caught, because otherwise we'll be starting all over again. It's not funny. Okay, so better to always be careful. I don't like ripping off the bands. So okay, maybe this is taking longer than usual, so I think I'll probably take about 5 seconds of a break, and then I'll show you once it's off the loom. But just so that you have a preview, here's how it looks now. See, it's very nice, and later on we'll be tugging on it so that you can see how it looks. But I think I like how it's looking right now, so I'll see you in 2 seconds. Okay, so we're back. We've removed the bands from the side, which makes it safer now to pull it off the loom. So, but you still have to guide it properly, so here we go. We'll be removing it slowly, but you always have to watch under what's happening underneath, because some of your bands get caught and you don't want to break any of them. Okay, so there you go. So you just have to keep on tugging them. See what happens sometimes when one of them gets caught, it gets loose. So you might just want to pull it on it a bit so that to help it get tighter. There. You can still fix that, don't worry. You just have to do it one by one rather than just pulling it all in, off in one tug. So, well, I think it looks nice. Don't you think so? There you go. That's your finished corset bracelet. Very pretty, actually. Yeah, and with this size, I think it actually sort of fits perfectly around my wrist. Ta-da! Hey! So if you have a bigger wrist, then you might just have to add maybe a few more links. One of the secrets that I use when I do bracelets is that I always make sure I count the links, just so that I know how many links usually. And for an adult wrist, it's usually around 24 links. So that'll give you a very nice size without having to add any extensions. So there, this is your finished corset bracelet. So please don't forget, you have to follow us on Instagram. This is I Love You Shop, of course. I Love You Shop is where you can get all your bands. These amazing bands that I'm using, I just use the glow-in-the-dark pastel collection. And of course, you can follow me, Jace Alvarez, on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff in case you want to see. I also post designs of other people, so different color combinations, and then we can share ideas. So don't forget to tag us, tag this as the corset bracelet, and then tag I Love You Shop and Jace Alvarez. So we'll see you in the next tutorial. We actually have another tutorial coming up for a bracelet that I also made, an original design, which is called The Legend. Okay, I'm quite excited to do this. So we'll see you in a bit, and please do like this video or put a comment or give us any suggestions, and we'll be more than happy to entertain. If you want any tutorials done by I Love You Shop and by me, you can also send us a message on Instagram. So hopefully you like this, share this, and do the bracelets so we can all have a lot of bracelets to make and order bands from I Love You Shop. Thank you. We'll see you. Bye.